So what I want to do first is do a little bit of an audit, a nutritional audit, just to kind of see where you're at. Because, as many of you know who watch me regularly, your hormones start changing from the age of 35 onwards. Your testosterone drops, your progesterone drops by 75% by the time you get to 50. Estrogen starts dropping and drops by 35% by the time you get to 50. And this has a big impact on many aspects of our body, our cognition, our digestion, our metabolism, our ability to produce energy, our sleep, it goes on, right? And so there's many changes taking place. And what we find is that what we were doing isn't working anymore. And whereas we could eat a certain foods, and we could drink, and we could kind of stay out late, that all starts to catch up with us, right? And so let's have a quick little audit and see where you're at. And the first question I want to ask you is your digestion system working well? Because what happens is as we age, our stomach produces less hydrochloric acid, digestive juices, and so the food isn't digested as completely as it was when we were younger, which means that we start to or are prone to nutritional deficiencies, deficiencies of certain vitamins and minerals, okay, and tummy issues, that bloating. When I talk about digestion, it's simply things like do you get excess gas? Do you get bloating? Do you, with your going to the bathroom, do you go too frequently or not frequently enough? All right. These are all little flags, red flags that things aren't working as they should be. Do you tend to get an upset tummy? Do you get indigestion? Okay. You can develop food sensitivities. There's a lot that goes on. And there's a really big connection. You may remember when I interviewed Dr. Iona Weir, that's a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the gut-brain axis, the connection between the gut, the digestive system, and the brain. And there's a lot of research being done because our digestion can affect many aspects of our cognition, the least of which is our energy, our brain freaking energy, right? So the first thing is we need to think about how good is my digestion. And yeah, if I am having issues, like I'm not going to the bathroom as frequently, or I'm getting a lot of gas, or I'm getting tummy cramps, for example, or indigestion, that's a sign, hey, something needs to change. Wake up. Don't just keep ignoring those little symptoms, right? And you're going to be amazed and surprised at when you get your eating right, how a lot of this stuff is going to improve and clear up. So that's the first question. And next question is, do you have a blood sugar imbalance? And what I mean by this is a lot of women live on this kind of roller coaster of energy high, energy peak, and then energy slump, energy high, energy slump. And they use sugar, okay, processed sugar to help prop them up and get them through those energy slumps, all right? And so you can get this vicious cycle of sugar addiction, which actually I used to live on sugar, so I know exactly what this is like. Now, if you're finding that you don't have a more or less even kill of energy through the day, then again, your eating is something you need to look at because there's a lot you can do by eating the right type of carbohydrates in the right portion sizes at the right time of the day to get your blood sugar level even so you're not having this roller coaster. And remember this, that when you have this energy slump, it's not just physical, it's mental and emotional. You become more prone to being hypersensitive emotionally, right? Because your brain is starved of energy. Plus, you have decision fatigue. It's hard to make good decisions. You just go for the quick fix. So that's why it's a vicious cycle. So healthy eating is going to help to get this lovely even blood sugar balance, all right? It's going to make a big difference. And thank you for all your loves and likes, everybody. You know I love seeing them. And I know when you're giving me those little loves and likes that were on topic, right? That were on point, and I'm helping you. And don't forget to share today because a lot of women need to hear this message about how easy it is to get your eating right from the big picture principles. All right, the next thing is, do you have excessive fatigue? And excessive fatigue is not just physical, it's mental as well. So you should be waking up in the morning feeling refreshed and full of energy to face the day. If you're waking up feeling exhausted, even though you've slept for 8 hours, then something isn't right. Hello. Okay, and often that something is your food intake that you, and we're going to talk about this with the next point, is that you're under eating the nutrients that your body needs. Your nutrients are vital to your health and well-being, and I'm going to take you through what they are and the ones that are most important for you. Okay, so pay close attention. So if you've got excessive fatigue, again, need to look at your eating. There are many causes of fatigue, all right? It can be hormonal changes, there can be chronic health issues, right? But it also can be simply due to the fact you're not eating properly. And many women who are on the live today, who are on my program, will tell you how their energy levels have gone up since being on my program. It's just such a massive bonus. You're not just losing weight, but you've got more energy and you just feel good, right? Okay, your moods are more stable. So, and then the last thing is, are you under eating nutrients and overeating food? All right. So, this is what happens if you eat a lot of processed foods, right? You eat a lot of high calorie foods, these high sugary foods. You're eating a lot of calories, but you're not getting a lot of nutrients. Your body needs nutrients for your health and well being. Your body, the nutrients, is what are going to fuel the energy production in your cells, in your brain, in your body. It's what's going to fuel your fat burning metabolism, right? It's what's going to fuel the development of repair, muscle repair, cell repair, and so, and even just within your brain as well, while you sleep, this overnight renewal, right, within the brain cells, really, really important. So when you're eating a lot of junk, or even some junk, or filling up on high calorie drinks, alcohol full of toxins, then you're starving yourself of nutrient rich foods. All right, so we want to turn the equation around. We want to eat the right amount of energy for our better body needs, and we want to eat nutrient dense foods, right? So make every calorie count. That's what I think to myself. Make every calorie that I eat count. All calories are not created equal, all right? So let me quickly go through the mistakes to avoid. Now, if you follow me regularly, you probably already know all this stuff because I talk about it all the time. But for all the newbies, and welcome, I love you. If you're new today, let me know where you're from. Let me know where you're tuning in from because I love, love, love my newbies. And I'm just going to quickly jump on and say hello. I see lots of girls on today. Diane's here. Oh, Dorothy from Bonnie, Scotland. Oh, I love you, Dorothy. Thank you. Nicole's here today. Marie. G'day, Marie. Great to see you. Lynn says, you're so right. A couple of days of too many treats and not enough nutrients make for a tired body. So glad today is a new day and I can start again. Exactly. So it's just like, I never paid any attention to what I ate. I lived on sugar and I was exhausted physically and mentally and full of cellulite, but I just didn't make that connection, right? I thought, oh, I just need more sleep. No, I need to get my eating sorted. All right, so let's quickly go through this. First of all, you don't need to go low carb if you want to lose weight. In fact, it's detrimental. You need carbohydrates for energy for your body and for your brain. There are different types of carbohydrates. There are starchy carbohydrates, and we're going to be going through these, but lentils, right? Quinoa, lentils. And then there are the fibrous carbohydrates, right? Like green vegetables. These are carbohydrates, but they're much higher in fiber, okay, and lower in starch. So it's about knowing the difference between the two and when to eat what, all right? But you need carbs for energy, particularly into your 40s, right? You're going to suffer a lot if you don't have enough carbohydrates. You're going to get these blood sugar, and even blood sugar level. You're going to suffer. I find that you get tired in the afternoon, then you start to have cravings, and then you go for the sugary foods, all right? Next, you don't need low calorie either. If you go too low in your calories, your metabolism is going to slow down. This is the kind of irony, right? Your body is being starved, so it wants to hang on to the body fat, right? And so it starts to slow right down. And this becomes this vicious cycle because then you feel deprived because you're on low calorie. And then all of a sudden one day you have a big binge, and guess what? You do gain a lot of weight because your body's like, oh, food, yay, 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 store it as body fat because might be starved again sometime. Hello? So the key is a sustainable eating plan long term. All right, doable, sustainable, enjoyable, not having these extremes. Next, cleansers. All right, you need to be really careful with cleansers. All right, because here's the thing: your body doesn't discriminate between good and bad nutrients or toxins. Right, so when you run a cleanse, your body is going to eliminate good nutrients as well as the toxins. And guess what? The toxins are more resistant to being eliminated. That's why they're there in the first place, right? Often being stored in body fat. So a cleanse often can strip your body of all the goodness that it needs. You feel really depleted and exhausted, and your immune system gets compromised, right? And so a much, much better way is to eat how I'm going to be explaining today, a healthy way with the right foods. And what will happen is, as your digestive system starts to work better, your body will naturally eliminate the toxins. It will naturally cleanse itself, but it will be a slower, gentler, more natural process, all right? And much more effective too, long term, all right? The next thing is not eating enough fiber. There are two types of fiber: soluble fiber and insoluble fiber. Now, I find there's a lot of awareness about the insoluble fiber, which is the fiber that are in green vegetables, all right? And that's that's excellent. The broccoli, the insoluble fiber, it goes through your system more rapidly, okay? However, you really need, and I'm going to be showing you all these things, the soluble fiber as well. Now, these are chia seeds. Now, if you've used chia seeds, let me know. And these are tiny little grains. Now, when you add water to these, moisture, guess what happens? They all swell up and it becomes like almost like a glue. It's amazing, and it thickens. If you've got a shake or a breakfast cereal and you add 2 dessert spoons of the chia seeds, it thickens it up naturally. And this is wonderful for your digestion. Okay, it will slow down the process, but that's not a bad thing because you're going to have this lovely, smooth elimination. All right, and it's very, very gentle and it's very cleansing. All right, so it keeps you regular. All right, without the kind of bulk of the insoluble fiber. So you need a balance between the two, but I find a lot of women lack the soluble fiber. All right, so chia seeds are great. Chia seeds, flax seeds, I'm going to be showing this in a little bit. Okay, the flax seed as well, the ground flax seed. All right, so you need to make sure you're getting enough fiber. Too much sugar goes without saying, but it's easy to do. And it's also it's always like a drug. This research being done on the way the sugar affects the brain. And the more you have, the more you want, right? And the more you have, the less the sugar gives you that sugar hit. So you need a little bit more and a little bit more. And it really creeps out. I mean, I haven't have this, right? I have my little treats. And I'll kind of have one, a little piece of chocolate or a little shortbread biscuit. And next day I kind of feel like, oh, I think I need two. And I'm like, no, you don't need to, but you want to. You just want to keep upping that fix, right? So be really cautious of the sugar because the processed sugar is not doing you any favors. Natural sugars in foods is okay. In fruits, which we're going to be talking about, pear, natural sugars that are full of this pear, for example, full of wonderful nutrients, low on the glycemic index, delicious. It's sweet, and it gives you that little fix without all the nasties of processed sugar. All right, and the last thing is too many toxins. All right, so again, food additives, alcohol, um, you know, th- having drinks. All right, like the coffee and tea. 1 cup's okay, two. But if you're having a few a day, then you're loading up your body with toxins that are making things harder, right, for your digestive system. All right, so that's just a quick little high level recap of the mistakes to avoid. But I want to get on to the really good stuff because I know a lot of you are going, okay, Belle, but what should I eat? I kind of get the healthy food thing, but I just hear so much about macronutrients and micronutrients and what on earth is that anyway? So I'm going to give you kind of like the the lowdown, but at a very simplified level, which I quite honestly, is going to do my head in if I try to make it any harder than what I'm sharing with you today. So this is the guidelines that I personally use. Now, I wanted to get everything on some of these slides, so the print's a little small, but just you can pause the video afterwards, come back and enlarge it to full size, and you'll hopefully be able to read it more easily. So here's the deal, right? You've got your macronutrients, and then you've got something called micronutrients. Now, all foods contain both, and the macronutrients are three: carbohydrates, protein, and fats. And most foods contain a mix of these, right? Not just one or the other, a mix. For example, the steel cut oats, right? Here's some steel cut oats. And these are a starchy carbohydrate. They've got these starchy carbs, all right? It's the whole oat that's been cut up, all right? This is what I recommend on my program. It makes a great breakfast, but it's also got protein in it. It's a good source of protein, and it's got a ton of key essential vitamins and minerals for women over 40, okay? Why do you think it's on the program, all right? Now, so all foods can be categorized according to the macronutrients. And think of it that here's your food, and then it's going to fall into a carbohydrate. It may have some protein, it may have some fat. Then the food contains a whole range of micronutrients, all right, which are vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, and antioxidants, all right? So a food is going to fall into one of these categories and may have a few of the three macronutrients in it. However, that then gets broken down into the micro, which is these elements here: vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, and antioxidants. So when you're talking about nutrition for the 40 plus or 35 plus woman, we need to have a balance between carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Now, I know a lot of you always ask me, so I've put it on here, a range, a percentage range. And this is a percentage of your calories per day: 40 to 50% carbohydrates, 30 to 35 protein, 20 to 30 fat. So this is just a range. Please do not get fixated on the numbers, and I don't advocate counting macros, all right? Calculating all your macros. I mean, you're going to spend half your life doing that, and when you should be out there living life, right? Not counting. And so here's the key takeaway: that the think about it as a kind of inverted triangle, that you're going to have the most amount of calories from carbohydrates. Next step down will be protein, and the next step down is fat. It's that simple. Don't get stuck on these percentages. Now, the Gatling program, I've done all this work for you, all right? I've already done the right macronutrients divisions around the daily eating plan and the recipes that you're eating. You don't have to think about working all this out. I'm making sure that you're getting enough carbohydrates for energy, and the right carbohydrates, because when you think of carbs, you may think of like bread, right? And rice and potatoes, and sweet potato, right? You might think of that. However, this is a carbohydrate as well. And guess what? Lactose, dairy, kefir is a carbohydrate, right? With lactose. So you can have these kind of assumptions about where categories certain foods in, but the reality is that many of them contain a mix of all of these, right? And guess what? The other thing is that your body, we have something called nutrition intuition. Your body is going to tell you the right mix of these three. When you have a sandwich or a meal, or if you have like a whole lot of meat protein and hardly any veggies, something doesn't feel right as you're eating it, right? It's really protein heavy. Your body's going to give you this kind of biofeedback, what feels right to you as food combinations in the right amounts. You know, generally speaking, if you're eating too many starchy carbs, you start to feel really sluggish. Your digestion system starts to slow down. You know that. So you learn over time, okay, this is what feels right for my body. So that's why there's a range depending on our weight, our body fat, and our goals, our physique goals. This will vary a little bit. Okay, so you're going to work within these ranges. So then your foods are then broken down and contain these nutrients. Now, this is where the magic is. You need to get enough carbs for energy. All right, really important. And that's you need the protein for muscle repair, cell repair, and you need healthy fats because the healthy fats actually help to condition the cell membrane so all the nutrients can permeate into the cells and do their magic. So the fats are like, oiling the machine of your body. Does that make sense? Right? So you needed the healthy fats. So we're going to be talking about this. One of my favorite, the coconut oil. Okay. So, healthy fats are important. Each of these have their role in the body. This is where we get into your health and well-being with the micronutrients. So, I'm going to show you a little chart that I've put together. Now, you're going to want to stop the video afterwards, or maybe print this out, or write it down, or maybe I'll post it on the video underneath afterwards. And I've gone through and listed the most vital micronutrients for post 40 women because all of these are really critical to our health and well-being. And remember how I said that our digestive system isn't as efficient and effective as we age. Remember, the digestive juices start to decline, and so what happens is we have malabsorption, we have absorption issues, as particularly the case for vitamin B12 and some of the essential vitamins and minerals that our body needs. We're not absorbing them properly. We might be eating them, but we're not absorbing them. So this is really important. So I put that first, vitamin B12 for energy, our nervous system, and detoxification. Really, really important. Body and brain energy. Vitamin B12 is essential for the methylation cycle, the methylation energy cycle, and so is folic acid. Really, really important for energy. And this is what I find for a lot of women into our 40s, that you're really busy, you're building the can at both ends, you've got kiddies, you're running a job, a business, and you just find you're constantly exhausted, right? And often just getting your vitamin B12 sorted and having enough folic acid can make a big difference because it's like facilitating the production of energy in your body, all right? Really important. The omega-3 fats, anti-inflammatory for your brain and your cell function. Really, really important. Your omega-3s, and I'm going to be going through some of that. I'm going to be showing you one of my favorite fish that I like to eat. Very important to have the fish and healthy fats in your diet. Magnesium is really important for your metabolism, muscle, and brain function. And that is, you can get magnesium in a lot of foods. Magnesium is one supplement that I do like to take in the evening. All right, it'll help with a good night's sleep and also your muscle recovery. Vitamin E is important as an antioxidant. Zinc for your immune system. Again, the repair and protection function of your body suffers as we age, so we need to make sure we've got enough zinc. Potassium is good for our blood pressure and keeping a good electrolyte balance. All right, excellent, especially if we're exercising. Vitamin D. So, did you know that a lot of people are vitamin D deficient now? Kind of ironically, because of the awareness of sun protection. Vitamin D, the sun causes you to create your own vitamin D, but because people are wearing sunblock and hats and we're aware of skin cancer, the incidence of vitamin D deficiency has declined. And in fact, in Australia now, vitamin D testing is routine when you do a blood test. So vitamin D is important and also calcium for your bones. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, okay, that's all very well and good. And you can go onto the internet and look at this and find out all the foods that are high in these. Don't work out what you're going to, but it's really complex, right? So what I've done today is I'm going to show you an example, and this is the way I like to think of it. Not eating like, oh, I'm going to eat these foods for vitamin A and these foods for vitamin D, all right, and these foods for the fiber, all right. It gets very complicated. I'm going to go through and show you my favorite foods for each one of these groups. So I like to take the whole food approach and think of it as whole foods because each food has an incredibly complex blend of macro and micronutrients, right? And so what I've done, all the foods I'm going to show you today are really high in almost all of these. All right, if you eat a selection of the foods that I'm going to show you today, you're going to be getting a wonderful blend of these essential micronutrients that you need into your 40s. And this is the way to do it. Think of it as the whole food because the whole food, Mother Nature knows best, right? The whole food is created with a beautiful balance of macro and micronutrients. That's why I emphasize on my Gatling program not to eat processed foods, to eat foods that are fresh, whole foods that you prepare from scratch. And then you know that Mother Nature is giving you the perfect blend of nutrients that you need, right? With the iron and the folic acid and the insoluble and soluble fiber, and all the antioxidants that you need. Oh, just magic, all right? So let's go into it. So let's go. We've got grains and beans. You enjoying this? Enjoy as a hug. So let me quickly, I'll take a few. I want to get through everything. So I'm kind of moving on today, a little bit faster than normal. Oh, thank you, Jade. Jade loves the whale tail necklace. Diane, Vegemite is Vegemite high in B12 as the jar says, would adding it to food? You know, if you enjoy the taste of Vegemite, have it. Marmite if you're in the UK, but I wouldn't be going out of your way to add it, right? Better to do what we're going to be talking about today. Oh, thank you, Patricia. Love coconut oil. Nakia says, Gail, love my steel cut oats. Martina from Ireland. Thank you, Martina. Love you. Love to go to Ireland one day. 4 cups of coffee good for you? Decaf. Angie says, are 4 cups of coffee good for you? First of all, decaf isn't really ideal because the chemicals that they use to create it kind of have an adverse effect. So you're kind of defeating the purpose. I would just cut it back to 2 cups, right? And enjoy your coffee. Caffeine in itself is not a bad thing, and it actually has some benefits for the body. All right, you just want to make sure what is with the caffeine. So obviously green tea is great because it has the caffeine and the L-theanine, which gives you that lovely relaxed alertness. The black tea, the caffeine is released more slowly, so you don't want to get that energy hit. Coffee is okay. Try to have organic and just 1 or 2. Try to limit it to 2. That's what I would recommend. Medjool dates are okay, Diane. I have those instead of figs sometimes. Okay. Awesome. Juliana's using the chia seeds. All right. So let's get on now. What are we going to do? The grades. All right. So here we go. So let me just try and get all this. Can you see that? Yeah. Let me get that out of the way. All right. Good. Oi. Oi, oi, oi. Okay, great. So let me just give you my 3 favorite whole grains and legumes. So we'll mix them up together, the beans. So the steel cut oats, and all the girls on my program know these. These are the whole oat that has been cut into tiny little pieces, all right? These are so much better for you than the rolled oat, than the processed oat. With the rolled oats, they steam them with hot water, and then they roll them and they remove the outside high fiber, okay, content, and a lot of the nutrients that are in the external part of the grain. So these are absolutely delicious. You'll find that you'll feel really satisfied. They're full of protein and full of many of these essential nutrients, right, that we need as 40 plus women. So that's the first one. And the next one is the lentils. This is my favorite legume. All right, the lentils. Now you want to go for the green or the brown lentils. The red ones go into a puree when you cook them, right? And and also they're not quite as nutritious. To go for these ones, and these make a really nice alternative, starchy carb alternative to rice or potatoes or even sweet potatoes. And these, again, really high in those essential nutrients that we talked about. And the quinoa, for those who, this is a gluten-free, and it's actually a seed. I'm trying to make that light's coming onto it, but it's a tiny little seed, and it puffs up when you cook it. Super high in protein, really good for you, soluble and insoluble fiber, and full of nutrients. So really awesome. And with the starchy carbs, like these are starchy, is a higher in starch, okay? And then you've got your starch carbs, this is your steel cut oats, and then you've got your fibrous carbs. So those on my program know that we favor the starchy carbs early in the day and at lunch, and then at night time we focus on the fibrous carbs, okay? And we omit the starchy carbohydrates. So What we use is a cup measurement. Knowing how many carbs to eat can sometimes be confusing, and you don't want to overeat. So we use a cup in my programs that you know exactly how much you should be having. And when you get that, and we do that for all the foods, right? Whether it's a weight or a cup. I prefer a cup because it's so easy. And then after a while, you get to know how much visually it should be. The program is all about lifestyle for the long term. I don't want anything hard or difficult. I want to live my life, not spend it counting calories and macros and calculating food, right? I want to just get on and eat and enjoy my life and feel great. So when you measure stuff, you start to learn, oh, okay, yeah, that's about how much I need to eat of protein or of the carbohydrates or how much fats is right for my body. All right, so that's the grains and beans. All right, the vegetables. So the veggies, you have a mix. Like I said, this is a starchy carbohydrate, the sweet potato, really high in protein, right? So you're going to have, talking about the macronutrients, this protein and carbohydrate, okay? As you can see, foods contain more than one macronutrient, and it's really high in many of these essential vitamins and minerals that we need for post 40. It's fantastic carbohydrate and delicious to boot. Then we have anything brightly colored is really high in antioxidants. All right, so these are a couple of my favorites: the parrots, and the peppers, and all the different colors. You can roast them. You could do them in a stir fry. You could use them in a salad. All right. So when you see bright colors, right, we've got these. We've got our baby spinach leaves. I prefer baby spinach because it's more easy to digest. Lightly cooked is even better because it helps to break down the insoluble fiber. The same for the broccoli, all right? Raw is harder for your stomach to digest. And remember what I said about your stomach, hydrochloric acid declines with age and it becomes harder to digest your food. So you want to make sure that things are easy to digest. So lightly cooking, lightly steaming is really good. And so you want a mixture, and all of these awesome fat dishes, are going to give you all of those nutrients that I've just listed before. Really fantastic. You don't need to kind of get crazy on it. Just make sure that the key for takeaway today is variety. All right, variety of within these food types. If you're getting a mix of these each day, and within each one you're getting 2 or 3 different types, then you're way ahead of the game, right? Way ahead of the game. Is this easy? See how it doesn't have to be hard. Just do a little check with yourself. A meat alternative, okay? Meat alternatives, okay, if you're a vegetarian. Have I had a variety of these foods today? And within each category, have I had two, a couple of different types, ideally 3, way ahead of the game. And you're going to be getting all the nutrients that we're talking about today. All right, now the next one, and this is really big, so pay attention, the nuts and seeds. Okay, so I've become more and more in love with nuts and seeds. The reason being is they are so concentrated in many of these, your zinc, your potassium, yes, calcium, vitamin E, omega-3s, folic acid, vitamin B12. They're like a little nature's vitamin bomb, right? So if you can get a really good variety of nuts and seeds in your day, wow, it's just such a power-packed way to boost your health. So here's the ones that I like to use on a daily basis. We've talked about the chia seeds already. And what I do is I make the steel cut oats, which I talked about before, and then I put some of these seeds into the oats, right? It's a fantastic way to do it. So the chia is high in protein, okay? Sunflower seeds, awesome. Sprinkle some little sunflower seeds. Pepitas, these are the pumpkin seeds. Fantastic. So full, particularly of the minerals that can be harder to get, the trace minerals. You've got to get them in the seeds, all right? Throw a few little pepitas in. The flax seeds, you want to grind the flax seeds so to release all the nutrients. And you can grind it yourself at home. So the ground flax seeds. So look already. Look. Look at all of it. The seeds. All right. So then the nuts. Now, here's something new for you. The Brazil nut. Who likes Brazil nuts? I love Brazil nuts. My mum knows that. These are really high in selenium. Selenium is really important. Do you remember when we interviewed Susan a few weeks ago? She mentioned selenium for the adrenal glands. All right. Two Brazil nuts are going to give you your selenium requirements for the day. Just two Brazil nuts, okay? Amazing. So you want the Brazil nuts. And of course, as you know on my program, the almonds, fantastic protein. All right, so nuts are really important. Just the portion size is important. Again, you only need a handful, right? Just get used to visualizing how much is enough. Don't eat it out of the packet. And of course, the coconut oil, fantastic. Did you know that coconut oil is a fruit? What is it? A fruit and a seed. And there was three things that it is: fruit, a seed, and what was the third one? I can't remember now. It's Oh my god, it's so good. So the coconut oil, you can use it for cooking. If I use it for all my cooking, and also you can use it like a teaspoon in with your breakfast. You can use it as a spread, all right, on wholemeal toast or a wrap. You can put a teaspoon into your smoothie. That's a really important, and particularly coconut oil is awesome, and it's covering a lot of the things that we've talked about already. So it's a really complete fat and healthy fat for 40 plus women. All right, so what are we up to? Oh, I'm going to do the meat next. Haha. Yes, I have bought some meat in. Let me quickly have a look. How are we going for time? What's the time? Are we going? Yeah. Okay, keep going, Belinda. All right, so Diane says, Julie, now you're on Gritline, you'll probably go nuts and love Bell just now when you go into a good health food shop. Awesome. Love nuts and seeds. Julie says that. Susan says, thanks, Bell. You make it sound so much easier. Exactly. Exactly. In your program, you say a cup of steel cut oats. Is that cooked or uncooked? Cooked. All right. And you know what? A cook of steel cut oats is actually a lot because it's so nutrient dense and there's so much insoluble fiber. You feel really full. It's surprising, as the girls will tell you. All right, so keep moving. All right, protein. Now, I wanted to show you. So I brought this in just because I'm so passionate about eating well. And again, remember, eat something from one of these groups every day, 2 to 3 different types. You're going to be cooking with gas, all right? So if you're a vegetarian, there's lots of good meat alternatives, all right? I have a Get Lean vegetarian plan because a lot of women who are vegetarian find it so hard to lose weight because they've got to keep their protein up, yet often the protein sources they're using are carbs, all right? So it's tricky. But my Get Lean vegetarian plan is awesome, all right? So you get that complimentary when you join my Get Lean program, and just messaging me here and I'll sort that out for you. So meat. Here's some lovely New Zealand Scotch fillet meat. Buy good quality. You don't need to eat them up. Buy good quality meat. Trim the hard fat out, okay? There will be natural fat marbled through. It will still be tender and delicious. Just trim out this hard fat, all right? Because particularly organic is great, but the hormones and stuff and nasty things that can creep in will be stored in the fat first, all right? That's where the toxins are stored. So trim off that bad fat. Next is fish. I never liked cooking fish. It was all too hard. I'm going to make it super easy for you. And the fish that you want is salmon, all right? Super delicious, super, super easy. Piece of salmon, put it in alfoil, put some lemon. This is some lime from the garden. Close it up, put it in the oven on a moderate heat for 15-20 minutes, and boom, you've done amazing omega-3s, okay? Amazing sources of these nutrients that we've been talking about. Delicious and so good for you, all right? So try to include some fish. And if you don't like fish, try this little system that I've got here. We can work with a white fish, okay? That's it, boom, done. Not hard, okay? Chicken. Now, chicken has less fat than beef. Something interesting, I've got I don't know if you can see it, I roasted this last night. You've got a drumstick, right? The dark meat, and then you've got the breast. Now, did you know that the dark meat is higher concentrated in nutrients. It has higher levels of the vital nutrients as opposed to the white meat. And interestingly, the dark meat is where the muscle fibers, it's the fast twitch muscle fibers because they have to run. The little chickens have to run on their legs. And this is the slow twitch muscle fibers from the breast. So it's really interesting. Nothing wrong with the dark meat, okay? Have both. And the nutrients are more concentrated in the dark meat. Interesting, right? So, and oh yeah, I forgot to say, pink Himalayan rock salt on the fish when you put it in the oven. Just grind a bit of the pink Himalayan rock salt with the lime. Mm, beautiful, delicious. All right, so what have we got left? We've done those. We've got two left. We've got the dairy. Okay, so yogurt goes without saying. Fermented dairy is really good, and there's something called kefir. It's going to be back to front now. Kefir is has 3 times the probiotics. Oops, hang on, let's just have a little look. Than yogurt. All right, it's fantastic. If you have digestive problems, try having kefir or fermented foods. All right, I'm just gonna have a little sip. Mm. Oh, oh, it's delicious. It's spritzy, right? Creamy and spritzy. Mm. So can you imagine you make that delicious steel cut oats breakfast? You put all your freaking seeds in there, right? Nutrient bombs, and you add some kefir. Can you imagine? You got your calcium that you need. You've got all these fantastic. You got your vitamin Bs, vitamin B. It's all the different vitamin B elements in this. You got your pre and probiotics. You got your calcium. All right. You got your potassium. Awesome. So can you see? Just mixing the right foods together, and you can create an incredible healing meal for yourself that's going to boost your energy and your well-being. Without even having to take any supplements. Now, the other thing is cheese, and I get a lot of questions about this. If you want cheese, go for mozzarella. Now, mozzarella, can you see that? It comes in a liquid, and this is relatively low fat, but it will melt. So if you're having a recipe that requires cheese that melts, it will melt. Delicious, right? High in calcium, and you need your dairy. All right, so mozzarella is a really good choice, and it's yummy too. Right, and oh, that's right. And I wanted to show you, just bought this in my little yogurt maker. Just this is you can buy these, you can get these online. It's electric, right? Now, once you get this starter culture, you can buy kefir grains, or you can do it with yogurt. I've made goat's milk yogurt, and you put your culture in there. You add, you warm the milk to about, I think it was 110 degrees Celsius. Just warm to it's almost too warm that you can't put your finger in, okay? And then you pop that on there, and this goes in here, and it writes into the PowerPoint, and then that sits overnight, okay? Got like a little bit. And when you wake up in the morning, you've got a lovely new batch of fermented whatever it is that you're making, whether it's yogurt or kefir. Really nice to do. If you're having it regularly, why not sort of take a little time and make your own, all right? It is better than commercially made. And the thing is, the bacterial cultures have a life of their own. And when you keep making your own, the bacterial culture will evolve and become really rich and a lot more better for your digestion than commercially bought products. All right, so last of all, the fruit. And I didn't have kiwi fruit because it's not in season, but here are my favorite fruits. I pretty much eat these every day. Banana is great, all right? Nothing wrong with banana. It's got starchy carbs. Yes, it's got natural sugars, but it's got also a ton of vitamins and minerals that are really important to us. This pear is good, low glycemic, delicious, healthy, also good for fat burning. Avocado is a fruit, right? The avocado oil is fantastic. The oils in the avocado. You don't need a lot, but really, really healthy for you. And berries, high, are given the bright colors, high in antioxidants. So the blueberries, blackberries are ideal. The strawberries, all right. And again, I'll have that in my breakfast sometimes. I'll stir in some of the berries. You can have the fresh or the frozen. So that's it in a nutshell. Just remember that where our goal is to have a balance of carbohydrate, protein, and fats, and the right foods that are going to give us this nutrients that we need later in life. And it's as simple as making sure you've got a variety from these different whole food groups every day. And it's just about a bit of preparation and planning and just making sure that you've got during the week you have different sources of protein, that you've got those just nuts and seeds that I talked about, that you've got a variety of vegetables, right, in the fridge. Huh? And you go by the colors, the lovely bright colors, that you're choosing carbohydrates, these starchy carbohydrates that are going to be high in protein and the vitamins and minerals that you need. And you're going to find that when you kind of get that variety and balance, you're going to start to notice a difference. If you've enjoyed this live coaching session, watch my next video, or to access my program, join my YouTube members area, and don't forget to share this video with someone you think might enjoy it too.